In a moment that would go down in history, the world stood still as Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was crowned as the new pope, ushering in a transformative era for the Catholic Church. The day was filled with excitement and anticipation, a day that would unite millions across the globe in joy, awe, and inspiration. Pope Tagle's coronation marked a pivotal moment for both the Church and the world, and it was a celebration of faith, compassion, and a renewed sense of hope for the future. As the sun rose over Vatican City, the atmosphere was electric with expectation. From the bustling cities to the quiet towns, people were glued to their screens, waiting for the historic announcement. The streets were filled with a sense of unity, as the world waited for the appointment of the next pope. It was a moment that transcended borders, language, and culture, as people from all corners of the earth held their breath together, awaiting a new chapter in the life of the Catholic Church. The day began with a feeling of anticipation that filled the air. News channels from every part of the world broadcasted live updates, capturing the essence of the moment. St. Peter's Square was packed with faces, each one filled with hope, curiosity, and respect. The world was watching, waiting for a decision that would shape the Church's future. Pope Francis, known for his humility and progressive views, had stepped down, and his resignation sent shockwaves through the global Catholic community. With his departure, the world was left wondering who would take his place. In the Vatican, the cardinals, the top officials of the Catholic Church, met in a gathering of great importance. Their faces showed the weight of the decision that they were about to make. It was a serious and meaningful moment, and inside the Sistine Chapel, beneath the stunning frescoes painted by Michelangelo, they deliberated and voted in secrecy. Outside, the world could only guess and wait, eager for news of the new leader of the Church. Rumors were circulating, and one name stood out above the rest: Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. The Archbishop of Manila, Tagle had captured the hearts and imaginations of many, particularly in Asia. His charisma, deep faith, and connection with people from all walks of life made him a strong contender for the papacy. Known for his humility and approachability, Tagle was beloved by many. His speeches resonated with both the young and the old, and he was seen as a man who truly embodied the spirit of the gospel. He was seen as a figure who could guide the Catholic Church into the future, bridging the gap between tradition and the modern world. As the day wore on, the tension continued to build. The faithful gathered in churches from Manila to Mumbai, from Seoul to Singapore, each one hoping for a pope who would represent their part of the world. They prayed in unison, hoping that the new leader would be someone who understood the struggles and hopes of the modern world. The faithful longed for a shepherd who could offer guidance in these fast-changing times, someone who could speak to the challenges they faced and offer a vision of hope and unity. The world waited, and the suspense continued to grow. From every corner of the globe, people were focused on the Vatican, and as the hours passed, the anticipation reached a fever pitch. Then, finally, the moment arrived. White smoke billowed from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, signaling that a new pope had been chosen. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices rising in a chorus of relief and joy. The bells of St. Peter's Basilica rang out, signaling the start of a new chapter for the Catholic Church. Inside the Sistine Chapel, the cardinals celebrated, their faces lighting up with joy. They were acutely aware of the historical significance of this moment, as they knew they had just made a decision that would have a profound impact on the Church and the world. Outside, the crowd in St. Peter's Square waited anxiously for the announcement. When the name was finally called, it echoed across the square: Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. The reaction was overwhelming, with cheers, tears, and prayers filling the air as the new pope was introduced to the world. As Pope Tagle stood before the crowd, he symbolized hope and a fresh start for the Catholic Church. The sun shone brightly over Rome, and the excitement in the city was palpable. Flags from all over the world decorated St. Peter's Square in a burst of color, and chants of "Viva il Papa" filled the air. Inside St. Peter's Basilica, the atmosphere was charged with energy as cardinals, bishops, and dignitaries from all over the globe took their seats. The crowd leaned in, eager to see the man who would lead the church into the future. The moment arrived, and the sound of trumpets filled the air, signaling the beginning of the procession. The cardinals, dressed in their bright red robes, led the way, their vivid garments contrasting with the elegant interior of the Basilica. The procession moved in unison, each step deliberate and filled with reverence. The congregation watched in awe, their eyes following the procession with a mixture of respect and curiosity. Then, as Pope Tagle entered, a hush fell over the Basilica. The silence was thick, almost tangible, as everyone held their breath in anticipation. The grandeur of the space, with its towering columns and stunning mosaics, only served to heighten the sense of awe and reverence. As Pope Tagle walked down the aisle, he wore a simple white cassock, his presence immediately felt. Despite the opulence of the surroundings, his outfit was a symbol of humility, reminding everyone of the true essence of his mission. His walk was graceful, almost like he was gliding, and his warm smile radiated kindness and love. His compassionate eyes seemed to connect with each person in the crowd, offering a silent message of hope and comfort. In that moment, it was clear that Pope Tagle was not just a leader, but a shepherd, someone who would guide his flock with love, compassion, and unwavering faith. As Pope Tagle approached the altar, he paused for a moment of reflection, gathering his thoughts before the sacred duties ahead. The congregation watched in silence, their hearts united in prayer and anticipation. The moment was powerful, a connection between the leader and the people, a promise of service and love. He raised his hand in a blessing, simple yet profound, symbolizing his role as a spiritual leader. The crowd responded with a wave of emotion, their hearts lifted by the blessing. Tears flowed, and smiles lit up faces as a deep sense of renewal and rekindled hope filled the air. It was a moment of collective release, a moment when the faithful could feel the presence of God and the strength of their community. Pope Tagle's humility and presence were magnetic, drawing everyone closer together in a shared experience of faith and devotion. His gestures were genuine, his actions filled with sincerity. As he continued through the ceremony, it was clear that he saw each individual as a unique and precious part of the larger community. The ceremony was steeped in tradition, with each ritual holding deep meaning. The presentation of the papal fisherman's ring, a symbol of the papacy, and the placing of the pallium, a woolen stole, on his shoulders marked him as a shepherd of the church. These moments were not just ceremonial, but a reflection of the weight of history that Pope Tagle was now carrying. He was now the successor of Peter, the vicar of Christ, holding the hopes and dreams of Catholics all over the world in his hands. For the Philippines, this was a historic moment. For the first time ever, a Filipino, a son of Asia, was taking the throne of Peter. Cardinal Tagle's election was seen as a symbol of a new era of inclusivity and representation in the church. The news spread quickly across the Philippines, and celebrations erupted in the streets. From the busy streets of Manila to the quiet villages in the mountains, Filipinos came together to celebrate the momentous occasion. People gathered in public squares, waving flags and singing hymns, while in rural areas, communities joined together in makeshift chapels to offer prayers of thanks.